I don't know why 39, the kit for 39 is so big. It's got a lot of stuff in here, a bunch of violin and piano samples. Looks like I tried to use some stuff from a beat meet. I don't have the date in here, but it was the East meets West beat meet. So, and then there's some vocal samples in there of the Aesop Rock stuff that I chopped up to try and make a new chorus out of it. So, there's a couple different versions in here. I'll try and go through them real quick. Version A, not a lot going on there. Went back to using the redrum for my percussions, and not only did I go back to using it, but I actually started getting into trying using the sequence patterns, the pattern sequencer here. So you can have 4 different banks, A, B, C, and D, and up to 8 different patterns for each bank. So I was using it at a resolution of 16 with 16 steps. So basically, each one is like a count in the tempo of the pattern or the beat. I don't have to go all the way to like 17 to 32 or anything like that. So condensed all the drums onto one track basically. I think. Let me look and see. Yeah, so I'll say I don't have that individual drum tracks going out to the individual tracks of the mix or anything like that. Got away from using the NN19. In this particular remix, I'm using some loops. So let's listen to the loops real quick. Violin and piano. I want to say those came in the Beat Meet kit. I'm not sure exactly where I got those from, but they're in there. And so then, of course, some vocal samples. And then I ended up making a pattern out of it. So here's what I ended up doing with the sample. I just used that one hit, that one cut, that one slice from that particular sample. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so that's version A. B, pretty much kept the same exact layout, using the vocal chorus, some sample cuts and stuff like that, using a different sample though for the main melody part. And so I think a slightly different drum pattern, I'm not sure, but let's see how this one came out. So this is the first beat where I'm surprised. The first beat where I'm coming across this, where I use the NN19 and then loaded up different samples, or was it the same sample just different pitches? Yeah, okay, so it's just the same sample but different pitches, and put it in the NN19. So that's how that one came out. All right, and then version C. Real simple here, just a sample and some drums. Again, the drums just all sequenced out in the pattern editor, and then here's the chop. And so this is what I ended up doing with the chop. So that was C, and then D. D was the fun one. This is a why again I'm into producing and stuff like that. A lot of forums I dig around in, it's like Guys are always trying to excel and get better, and people are aspiring to be as good, if not better. A lot of producers out there, you'll hear the names get thrown around like Dilla and Primo and Swizz and Self Title and just a lot of different producers out there. Illmind. Everybody wants to be like those dudes, but I admire all those guys and stuff. But I don't aspire to produce to be just like those dudes. I just why I produce is because sometimes you have ideas. It's not like you could call these people up and say, "Hey, you should do this." So instead of waiting for someone else to do it or trying to get someone else to do it, it's like you just do it yourself. And so this is an example of that. And I've already touched on this with some of my other remixes and beats. Like, I'm not gonna call Primo and say, "Hey, you should sample that song from Sesame Street." You know what I mean? Or I'm not gonna say, "Hey, it would be dope if you flip some RoboCop." Or like in this case, if you flip some Transformers. Of course, I was hyped about the Transformers movies coming out and stuff, and so I went in and this is something I grew up with. So I went and found some audio, and I was like, man, I wonder what I could do with it. Well, I didn't do a whole lot really, but the little bit that I did, when I made a beat out of it, I threw it at some cats and some forums and some of my boys, and they loved it. And this is why I do this kind of stuff because it's like you have an idea, you want to see it, and you don't have any other means to get to it other than to do it yourself. So for me, producing isn't necessarily about trying to be like the juggernauts or trying to duplicate the success they had in this industry or anything like that. It's very much a hobby and something that I like to do in an art form I really appreciate. And so this version D was a transformer flip. Here is the sample. Out of all the Transformer stuff I went through and listened to, this was like the only piece or only sound that I could pull that I liked that I tried to want to do something with. So I ended up making a beat and then auditioning it to this acapella with LP and Aesop Rock ripping, and I ended up just making a little beat out of it. So here's how it came out. So anyway, you can download them, listen to them, bump them. Again, you get the kit. There's a lot of beat meat stuff in there, some vocals, the Reason files, with all the sounds plugged in them. So if you have Reason, you can extract them and stuff. But I'm sure somebody else could probably flip something out of that and make an ill beat out of all these different sounds a lot better than what I came up with. And so that's why I put the kits out there for you guys. So if somebody wants to flip that and do something with it, and you like what you did, man, email it to me, put it up on your SoundClick page or your MySpace page. I'd love to hear it, man. Get at me, I'm in this rap.